number line models with our decimals. So we have, where are the smaller numbers going to begin on our number line? Well, they should begin towards 0 on the left or towards 0. Where would the greater or larger numbers begin on this number line? I would assume that if our smaller numbers are at the left, that our bigger numbers should be at the right. What are we going to label at the next tick mark? So each tick mark is going to be a tenth, right? So we're going to label each one a tenth. Then the next one is going to be 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths, 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 8 tenths, 9 tenths, and 1. Okay, that's if we're counting tenths. If we were counting hundredths, this would be 0.001, 0.002, 0.003. We have to go out to the correct decimal place in order to get the right number. So here, what is the pattern for placing these tick marks? Well, we count from left to right and increase by 1/10 each time. Right now we're just doing tenths, okay? It depends on what we need to use. That depends on how we number our number line, okay? If we're using tenths, we want to increase by a tenth each time. If we're using hundredths, we're going to use hundredths. If we're using ones, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, okay? If we're using tens, it would be 0 and then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. It just depends on what we're counting by, okay? How might you show hundredths on this number line? Well, we would mark off tick marks. These orange lines are our tick marks, okay? That tells us when we've traveled a certain distance. Mark off 9 tick marks between each tenth. So we'd have to do 9 more little lines in between these orange ones that I've drawn. Every single one of them, another 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? In order to get hundredths, which is going to increase us to having 100 lines in between 0 and 1. Okay? So then if we do that, and you may need to pause the video. If you need to, do so that you can think about it. Then press play and come back and you can get the answer. But the question that you need to answer is, where would 5 100ths, that's what this number is. That's at the hundredths place. 5 100ths fall on the number line. Where is 5 100ths on the number line? Pause the video and then press play if you need to. I would much rather you think about it and figure it out on your own than wait for me or just let me give you the answer on the video. Okay? So the answer to 5 100ths would fall halfway between 0 and 1/10. So it's going to be, we have 100 lines in between here. I'm sorry, we have 99 lines between 0 and 1/10, which means the 5 100ths would land halfway between 0 and 1/10. How can you show this? How can you show thousandths on the number line? You're going to divide the segments between each hundredth into 10 equal parts. So we're getting down to where we don't have very much space in between our lines on our number lines. And it's going to start getting confusing. But the same thing happened in our decimal grids. We had our tenths, which had some nice columns going up and down. We had 10 of them. Then we got squares in our hundredths grid. We had 100 of those. And then our thousandths grid got kind of messy because we had so many little bitty squares inside of it. So we need to start getting a really good picture and understanding the thousandths part of our decimal place value, okay? So since we have completed your place value chart for whole numbers and the decimals, You're going to use that place value chart as a reference and use the steps to comparing and ordering. Remember, you put your number into your place value chart and compare from left to right. So you're going to compare and order numbers to complete and submit the following papers. You need to finish and do on your own with your place value chart decimals on the number line and batter up your performance indicator. Okay, those are the next two things in this activity, I believe.